depends on the business or the products, but was having success with XYZ, and it piqued my interest because I'm suffering with XYZ, and that's why I joined. So you can always use other people's stories. I know sometimes it's harder because it's not as personal to you, but you can really get excited that we all have a story. So even if you don't know Silence, if you needed somebody that had, a financial testimony and you don't know anybody directly, get on the team page and say, hey, whose financial testimony can I use? Because one of my friends is asking and I need a response. So we're all here. We are one Plexus. We're one big team, and I want to see every one of you succeed. I know Kim does. I know all of us want to see you succeed, and we're here for you. So thank you for that question, Silence. Do y'all have anything else? Any other questions? No? Okay, so then that puts us back with Kim with question number 7.
So 7 and 8 kind of go together. It is, how do I turn a no into a yes? And what do I say when people say that it's too expensive, or they have, they don't have time to work the business? So I'm going to kind of combine those two. So what you want to do is you want to stop objections before they start. You want to go ahead and intervene before they can say anything. And if they do say, oh my gosh, how much is it? And you tell them, say, let me look it up. And you always say, it depends on how you buy. And, that's how I have 50 level 1s now, or 51. And how I've gotten them is how I tell them that they can be, I don't call it ambassador. I say wholesale customer. If you want to be a wholesale customer, and I say it's kind of like a Sam's Club or a Costco membership that you pay your $34.95. That's going to get you 1 year of wholesale prices of the products, and you are going to be able to just buy from yourself. And if you buy anything over $100, then you're going to actually get money back on that. And they're like, well, gosh, that definitely sounds like the way to go. But they say it's still too expensive. I can't afford it. I always come back with the feel, felt, found method. And I say, I know exactly how you feel. I felt that way too. But what I found was in my first month, I started sharing with others, and I got several customers, and I got a paycheck the very next month that more than paid for my products. So if money is a concern, and if 3 or 4 people that would be interested in buying the products or trying them, or maybe even being your accountability partner, then you can get your products paid for. I can show you exactly how. They also may say, but what will it work for me? It worked for you. What will it work for me? And then say, I felt the same way. I saw my friend losing weight. I didn't know if it would work for me either, but, I decided to try it to see if it would, and I was very pleasantly surprised. And Plexus has a greater than 90% success rate, and it works for most people if you give it a try and if you're consistent with the products. But we do have a 60-day money-back guarantee to back that up. If you use it for 59 days, you decide this is not for you. You can't sustain this. This is not something you would like. You don't like the taste of the pink drink. Whatever their objection is, you let them know up front that they can get their money back if they are not completely satisfied. And you guys, it is a piece of cake. I've been in now over 2 years. I've had 3 people return their products. That's it. 3 people. And 2 of them were because their doctor said no. And because they had some other health issues and they were concerned that it would interfere with those health issues. And they went with their doctor's advice. And I completely understand that. That's why and if somebody has objection, well, I don't know if my doctor would approve it, then we always say, definitely run it past your doctor. You don't want to ever tell them this is going to work for you. This is going to make your diabetes, your blood sugars low. You don't ever want to tell them that. You want to let them make that decision for themselves so they don't come back on you and say, you said that it was going to do this. So you need to put it back then, but overcome those objections. So what if they say, well, I read some reviews online and they weren't that great. Sometimes when you go and you Google, then you are going to come across some reviews that are not that great. But if you look a little deeper into those reviews, those are people that were not consistent with the products more than likely, and they moved on to another company, and so they bashed Plexus. So they're very few and far between, but you're going to find something negative about anything. You can say, I love MAC makeup, and it makes my face look amazing. Well, somebody as ugly as Homemade Sin can try MAC makeup, and it didn't do that for them. And well, are you going to blame MAC makeup and say, well, that mess is not any good? I'm still ugly. Okay, y'all, that was a bad example. Anyway, you catch my drift. So FDA approved. If somebody comes back and says, well, I heard it's not FDA approved. No vitamins or supplements are FDA approved. They are not. And you can say, guys, tell stories. Tell your story. I know how you feel. I felt the same way, but what I found, those three, feel, felt, found, remember those because it works. Those three words work. So that's how you overcome objections. And there are going to be objections. And you guys, I want you to know that you're going to run into obstacles. It is going to happen. But my thing is, I have run into so many. Christina has, Michelle has, anybody that's been in it a while, we run into obstacles. But my belief and my faith in the company and the products is so strong that I don't let it get me down. I keep going because I believe so much. So if you are not there yet, we need to get you there because this is definitely an amazing opportunity and the products are amazing. So does anybody have any questions? Actually, I see some. Christina, can you see them?
Yes, I can. I'm looking right now. Sally said that she often sends the comp plan with dollar amounts per rank. So this would go back with my question, or the question that Silence asked. So she would send the comp plan, I guess, via messenger or email, and she did that before she started making money. So that's a great way. And then Kathy has had that happen too. See, so we all have objections, right? But I think that is it. Wait, we have one more. Hold on. Oh, Kathy just ran into the FDA issue as well. So yeah, like Kim was saying, if you just get ahead of it, then, I mean, what can they do? You're ahead of their objections, right? And you use the feel, felt, found method. They can't argue with that.
You know, you guys, I like right up front, I come out with the objections that they're going to have. When I'm in talking to them initially, I will say to them, you know, some people think it's expensive, but you guys, I got a new ambassador yesterday, and it was kind of crazy how I got this person. I ran into her in Walmart. You don't even go to Walmart. Every time I go to Walmart, something happens. But I ran into this lady in Walmart, and she used to work in medical records in our in the hospital where I worked. And so I'd love to see her because she would come by at 6:30 a.m. to pick up our fetal monitor strips, and I knew that it was almost time for me to go home. And so I would just always be so nice and smiling to her, but I didn't really know her personally. I knew her because she came on the unit to pick up our stuff. So I ran into her in the produce section of Walmart. We started chatting, and she said, I just got on Facebook. You know, will you send me a friend request? So I took her phone from her right there and sent her friend request. Yesterday, I got a message. This was 6 months ago, guys, this happened. I haven't even seen her on Facebook since. I don't think she gets on. And I got a message from her, and all it said was, help, I need vitamins. And so I sent a message back and I said, well, are you only interested in the vitamins? And she said, I need you to call me. Here's my phone number. I said, okay, no problem. So I picked up the phone and called her. And you guys, she had a friend that had told her that she needed health supplements. So she took her to a vitamin store. She said, I'm going to call them out to you. She went to her kitchen, started calling them out. She was taking alpha lipoic acid, chromium, magnesium. She had 25, she counted them, 25 supplements sitting on her counter. She was like, I'm so overwhelmed, I just don't even know. Like, can you help me with just 3 or 4 products? I said, oh, yes, I can. And listen, that minute she signed up. She said she was spending well over $200, almost $300 on those vitamins each month. And so you guys, you never know. I mean, this is kind of off on a tangent, but people are watching you when you don't even realize it. And we have something that they need. So anyway.
I love that illustration, Kim. That's a great illustration. Thank you for sharing that.
All right. So what is the next? Oh, this next one is, this is the one we're all going to do. Number 9.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was your number 8. I'm so sorry. Okay, so number 9, yes, Kim said that many of us are going to answer this because this is something we're all very familiar with. The 9th question, what are some of the mistakes you made when you started that you would tell us not to do? So I was telling Kim when we were getting ready for this, I could probably spend a whole hour on the mistakes I've made because I knew nothing about, my background is in nutrition. So that aspect did not scare me, but I knew absolutely nothing about network marketing. And I am a really shy person, I guess is the word, more reserved. And so the beginning was really hard for me. I made a ton of mistakes, but the important thing is that I try to learn from them. We're all learning, and I hope that you guys learn from your mistakes as well, or you don't make the same mistakes as us. So here are my top 3. My first one is I did not use my team's momentum to my advantage. So right after I had my daughter, our team was in great momentum. And I felt like, well, they're doing well on their own, so this is a perfect time for me to step back and figure out this whole motherhood thing. She's my first child. I didn't know what I was doing. I was sleep deprived. I was tired. So I stepped back. And you know what? It was actually the worst time. Our team was growing, and I wasn't there for our team. And I feel awful about it. I love our team. I'll do anything for you guys. And I feel like in the time of one of our biggest growths, I wasn't there. I wasn't really present. Momentum is your best friend. And so when your team is in momentum, that is one of the times that you want to work extra hard. You want to work extra hours and use that momentum to explode your team. And most importantly, don't lose your momentum. So do whatever you need to do to keep that going. Use it to your advantage. And this is truly an opportunity that you get out of it as you put in. So if you are working part-time, Plexus, if you're working Plexus part-time, then you're going to most likely get paid like it's a part-time. And that's okay. I know everybody doesn't have hours and hours to put in every day, but you do have 15 to 20 minutes, so work on your personal growth and if you have a team, don't really work on managing the team. So message people about the opportunity. Do your IPAs. That's what we call them, income producing activities. The extra work is worth it. So don't lose your momentum, and definitely don't step back from your business when you have momentum going. My second mistake is, and this is one of Kim's as well, I think, I was awful at making lists. Because I was awful at making lists, I was awful at following up with people. I always have this thought in my head, oh, I won't forget. So-and-so is my friend. I'm not going to forget to follow up with them. Well, you know what? Life happens and we forget, or we get so busy in our day. And I think, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. And then before you know it, 2 weeks have passed. I was also kind of afraid to follow up with my customers in the beginning. I felt like, we've been in these chats or we've talked about it in person multiple times, and I didn't want them to think that I was harassing them. And I also wasn't keeping a list, so they weren't on my list to follow up with anyway. But, I didn't want them to feel like I was harassing them. But you're not harassing people when you follow up with them. These people have shown a genuine interest, and you are just doing your job by following up with them. So, if it's a customer and you're not following up, if you don't write them down, if I get a new customer now, I track their package, and then I mark on my little calendar, like 2 or 3 days after they receive their package, to follow up with them. Did you receive your package? Have you started your products? Are you having any issues? If you don't follow up, then you don't know if they're having issues. If somebody starts taking 4 BioCleanse on the first day, their body might not be able to handle that, and then they have an awful experience with it, then they don't order again. Or they stop taking it altogether, and they're not going to get those benefits. So the extra work of following up and making your list is also worth it. My third big mistake is, I spoke about this earlier, is I always left the ball in their court. So, I said I would end a conversation with, let me know if you have any questions. And Kim said this too, that it was like crickets, People are like, oh, thank God I got that girl out of my hair. Well, again, they weren't on my list. So they never contacted me back, and I never followed up with them. And they were forgotten about. And I have missed out on some good business builders because of that. And some people are the type of people that need you to follow up with them. Like Kim said, we're not at the top of their list or their radar, okay? If somebody was my best friend in high school, but I haven't seen her since, she's not thinking about me every day. So it's really easy to drop a line and just keep yourself in their lives. And some people are shy too. And they maybe don't want to come back and say that they're desperate for an opportunity or they're desperate for products. So always follow up with them. Like I said, I always tell my friends, I'll check back with you in a couple days. I put them on my list because I have lists now. And I follow through with that. Never leave the ball in their court. You always want to have that conversation going. So leave the ball in your court, and then you can continue the conversation. Kim, do you want to go with your objections next, or your mistakes next?
Yes, that's awesome, Christina. That is so good. So mine are very similar to Christina's. And so in the beginning of my journey, when I started, I got several, as I told you guys, I got several customers the first month. The second month, I got even more customers. The third month, I went silver and got even more customers. And you guys, my fourth month in, my PV, you guys know what PV is, was $3,500. I had so many customers that I did not, but I was kind of like, I was earning, but I wasn't learning. I was not spending my time following up with them, figuring out, what products they were taking, what they should be feeling. I didn't warn them about the die-off symptoms, the detox symptoms that they may have. I did not check back in with them to see how they were doing. I probably didn't instruct them really well on how to take them. And after that first month when they quit, I never even reached back out to them. I didn't want to embarrass them. And this is where my mindset was. I didn't want to embarrass them by thinking that I only wanted to reach out to them because I wanted something from them. So I thought it would just be best not to do it at all. No, that was a huge mistake, an absolutely huge mistake. So I spoke earlier about reaching out to my previous customers now and offering them that $10 off. Some of these people that I've reached out to were my customers 2 years ago that took it 1 month and fell off because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And so, of course, they didn't have good success. They probably ordered the triplex and, like Christina said, took what's on the bottle. I think it says you can take 2 twice a day. They probably had wicked diarrhea and was like, no, thank you. And, you know, and they probably maybe got headaches and started having some, if they took the ProBio, had some detox symptoms, they felt really bad. So they were like, no, this stuff doesn't work. It's making me feel horrible. So I really, really regret not nurturing those customers I had, because you guys, I had the potential at the beginning to be one of those rock stars you read about. I really did have that potential, and I didn't see it, and I didn't know what to do with it. I had never done network marketing, so I didn't know, and I just flat was kind of lazy about it. All I was doing when I was getting all these people, because I was saying, y'all won't believe this, how easy it is. Like, I was telling everybody, this is so easy. You just talk about it on Facebook and like people come to you. That's what happened to me. But then guess what? Everybody stopped. And then I had to start learning and doing the work and putting the work into my business. So up until probably month 6 or 7, I reached out to maybe close friends, but there was no way I was reaching out to a stranger and asking them to join me. I just flat didn't do it. Or even if we were friends from the past or whatever, because I don't know if I was embarrassed. I don't really know what it was. It was something, my mindset, though. It was my mindset that I wasn't prepared to do that. So I really, really regret not nurturing that. I also regret that those team members I got in the beginning, that I kind of treated them the same way. I didn't train them. I didn't teach them. I didn't teach them to duplicate what I was doing. When it didn't come as quickly for them as it did for me, I didn't know what to say to them. And they said, no, this isn't working for me. This is hard. I'm not doing it. I'm embarrassed. My friends think I'm crazy. And I was like, okay, that's okay. Bye. And, and now, like, I would take them and say, listen, no, let me help you. I would train them more and I would help them more. So I made those mistakes. I also treated my business like a hobby. I thought it was a big fun game. It was like, I'm going to talk about something and I'm going to get a check deposited. This is like the best. And you guys, that all came to a halt. I was in for a rude awakening. Let me tell you, I was in for a rude awakening when all of that fell by the wayside, all that momentum like Christina talked about before. She was talking about it with her teams. I had it with customers and with getting team members. We were, I was signing up like for my levels 1 through 3, 20 and 25 people a month easily. I was doing that, but I did not nurture them, so I lost them. So another thing I would always hear about personal growth, how important it was to get your mindset right and to, really grow personally and positive affirmations. And I was like, well, that is just a bunch of hooey. I mean, what are you going to tell yourself? You're going to tell yourself I can do this and then it's just going to happen? I was so lost, guys. And so then I did start getting some network marketing books and other books. We went through a leadership training, and I did start to realize that they were right. And you guys, I went to a mindset seminar this month with Sonia Dudley. My business has turned around this month because my mind turned around. I started thinking positively. I started believing in myself and believing I can do this. And my business has gotten back into momentum again. And it was all me. I blamed my upline, my downline, my sideline, my husband, my kids. I blamed everybody but myself. and it was nobody's fault but myself because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. One other thing, I didn't follow up well enough, and I just want you guys to know this, that people are going to quit. They are going to quit, and if you quit because they quit, then you are missing out. It is going to happen. I want you to expect it. It is going to happen. That's why we say go out and get 3 more, because you want those 3 more for those 3 that quit. And you're going to get ahead. You're going to get ahead. But it is the best business. Okay, Michelle, unmute yourself and tell us what you think.
Goodness, you guys covered like everything that was so worth it. Probably the biggest thing that I've learned is definitely about your attitude and your belief. I mean, I started off believing right away pretty much, but if you even have just a little doubt, that really it comes across to your potentials. Like they can sense that in you. So do what you can to build your belief in the products and the company. The other thing that I probably have just started to figure out is how to be a leader. I was like a self-starter. I pretty much took the whatever and I ran with it. Completely ran all, like pretty much on my own. So if you're questioning, where the direction your business is, don't sit back and wait for it to come to you. Go to your sponsor. So as a leader, though, I want my team to come to me. I went to my sponsor, and then when she kind of fizzled, I went to the girls above her. So definitely just don't hold back. And as a leader, do what you can to figure out how to become that leader you need to be able to keep your team motivated. And I've been really pouring into my level 2s and 3s because I want them to feel connected. So no matter who you have join your team, start a relationship with them. That's the biggest thing. I mean, you hear that word, that R word, that relationship word thrown around all the time. And that's really, truly the biggest piece of this business. And if you are missing that, you're going to miss out on so much.
Great. That's awesome, Michelle. Kenzie, what about you?
Y'all totally put me on the spot.
Just say one thing that you feel like you made a mistake in and you like would advise somebody not to do. Or to do something differently.
Don't sit around and wait for people to come to you. I had people like approach me or message me, and I thought that would just continue on forever. And then when that stopped, I was like, well, crap, what do I do now? I have to talk to people myself. I have to start these conversations. So like really learning how to connect with people and reconnect with people and foster relationships has been really huge for me. And I've seen a turnaround in my business this month just from like really challenging myself and getting outside of my comfort zone. And I've kind of been finishing up my list of 200 tonight, and that was like really, it was good for me to, I guess, just really like dig deep. I did a video about this today, but it was why I stopped selling Plexus, and I really think that that's been true for me this month, especially as I just had to like really figure out what is it that I'm trying to convey to this person. What is it that I know about them? What do they know about me? How can I just open up a conversation with them and find out if they're interested, if they've ever thought about it, if they've ever wanted to try the products or anything. And that's actually gone a really long way for me personally this month. So I guess that's another thing, is trying to like just use a format for reaching out to people. And like, oh my gosh, I went back on some of my messages and looked to see what I was saying to people.
I do that
and
too.
Like,
oh my
nursing friends, I would send this big long message about like all the science behind the products, and I was like, oh my god, what was I doing?
It's a wonder we got any customers.
Yeah, so definitely don't do that. Like, I'm short and sweet, to the point. And also, I think, like, for me personally, I found when I'm reaching out to people, if I say, like, hey, how are you? You know, your kids are blah, blah, blah. And then I talk about Plexus, I think everything I said before, like, they just skim past that and they're like, what does she really want? You know? So, and maybe if that's your personality, like, not saying that I don't care about people, but I think, like, generally speaking, people know why you're reaching out to them. So I found it more helpful to just say, like, hey, like, this is what I'm reaching out to you about, you know? So anyway.
Or let the first conversation not even mention Plexus.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you've kind of broken that ice and you've chatted back and forth a little bit, maybe
Yes.
in the next conversation say, hey, have you ever tried it or considered trying it?
Yeah. So, like, with people like that, I would say, like, okay, I'm dying to know. I'm sure you've seen my post. Has this piqued your interest at all? Have you ever thought about it? I love saying stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
I do too.
I'm so curious. Just tell me. So.
All right, guys, our time is up. I'm afraid I think that it's only scheduled for an hour, and obviously we went a little bit long. So our last question was going to be, how do we get to silver and how do we go fast start gold? But we are going to be covering that in our newbie training that we do on Tuesdays. So you guys can, if you want more information about it, you can reach out to one of us personally, or you can log on to one of those meetings. We'll be posting what it's about. So does anybody, before we go, have any questions at all or any comments or anything? If so, unmute yourself and ask us, and we will do our best to answer them. No? All right. Well, thank you guys for getting on. I thought this was really, really good. Christina, thank you so much for helping me. Thank you, Mel and Kenzie, for jumping in. Sorry, Kenzie, for putting you on the spot.
No problem.
So, but you guys, if I can just have one takeaway from all of this, it's learn from each other. If you're going through something, more than likely somebody else on this team has been through it. Don't be afraid to reach out. I don't care. I don't benefit from most of you, but I certainly love talking to you and don't mind helping you. And I know that everybody else feels the same way. So, all right, you guys have a great night. And thanks so much again. All right.
Bye.
Bye.